at the end of the day, I don't think it even matters if people are going to like it or not. C's get degrees type energy. I just want to get the job over the line. The thought of spending more than a day on a piece of work is like, I'm like, get it done. I don't want to think about this by the time I have to go to sleep tonight. That video you spent 16 hours on is going to get 23 views, 3 likes, and not worth it. You're better off just like... A lot of these creators are such perfectionists. They don't know what they want. They're like relying on an editor who isn't a producer. And that's the thing, like they'll like spend say 2 or 3 hours on the edit, getting there. And they'll like artificially put the goalposts a little bit further for themselves.
Could be just a little bit better and then maybe that'll get me more likes. Yeah.
That's a trap. That's a trap. Like get it good enough and post it and get on to the next.
What would be a good strategy for someone to kind of like work through that?
I think it would come down to...
Everybody, welcome to the Creator Dashboard, and today we're going to be having a conversation with Ty here, who is a bit of a different pathway to content creation, and it was very interesting. Ty reached out to me wanting to kind of share his experience in the content space as a bit of a different and alternative angle to content creation, which I thought was quite interesting. So Ty, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Sure thing, man. My name's Ty. Been a content creator for Kanga Esports for almost 8 years now. I deliver live streams for Events Engine and Longshot, and I have a traditional sports background in broadcast as well.
Yep. This is where I think it's quite interesting. So you do a lot of the background stuff, and a lot of people, when they think traditional content creator, they think of someone who's the face of the content, like the face of content creation. So like, you think the big ones like PewDiePie, there's so many I can't even think of them.
There's
but like
a millions
of content creators out there, as everyone's listening to it. But I think where like your particular angle, and where I think this is quite an interesting conversation, is you're not necessarily the face of everything that you do. You're essentially assisting with all of the faces, and you're putting things together in the background, because I guess without talent like you, a lot of these things like esports events that you're a part of don't get put together. So I think that's quite an interesting thing. So what kind of got you into this journey? Like, where did you start out?
If I'm honest, bro, I started editing my gameplay montages when I was like 15 on a crappy capture card with Sony Vegas on the computer that was given to me by my brother.
Yep.
I was literally editing like little montages when I was like 14, 15 years old.
Yeah. So you
was like, 15 years ago now. I started my journey, I guess you could say.
Yep. And so started. I think a lot of people started that. You probably were in the very early stages of like YouTube back then, like, probably following along those kinds, because montages was like the main thing back then.
Well, yeah, that's what everyone was doing, cutting the sick clips to like music. I mean, people still do that today. I still do that today with some of my clips. And
do you think it works still?
To a degree. I think you need to have like a good baseline of like easily digestible content. So say you had like, I don't know, using Apex Legends, for example, you could cut together, say, 5 matches of Apex, just your highlights, and post them like regularly, say 3 times a week. You post your best matches condensed into like a 10-minute video, and then like that audience will also enjoy a 2 or 3 minute hypercut of like a montage style.
Yeah.
But it can work, but it has to be supplemented with other content for it to.
It can't work just on its own.
Yeah, you can't just be a pure montage creator. You need to supplement your montages with like other digestible content, I guess.
Yeah, it's quite tricky. How do you think it's all changed since when you first started?
It's changed like massively, I guess, just with people have access to better hardware these days off the rip. Like my PC was not good enough to handle the recording aspect. Like back in the day, we had to record off a capture card from our console and then bring that into our computer that was hopefully good enough to run the editing software, could hold the clips, and like now everyone can just open OBS, hit record, and do their own like internal recordings, and like I guess it's changed massively from just the readily accessible hardware that people have.
I guess, yeah, it's a lot more accessible. It's a lot easier for people to get into. But with that, obviously, comes a challenge. Obviously, there's a lot more saturation. And like you've got to evolve with the audience to kind of suit this expectations. I still see content creators these days trying to do what was working 15 years ago on YouTube. And like, I guess that's probably like where 80% of the content creators are these days. So it's very interesting. So starting with like, so obviously you started editing. Where did like, so you said that you kind of got into broadcasting. So how's that kind of, how did that all work for you? How did that go?
Yeah, good question, Jury. I finished high school and I was doing like an art course,
Mm.
and we just had to edit some like short film that we filmed on like the high school cameras, and I was doing a bit of music at the time and art, and I don't know, it just led me down the road of like I probably want to become an editor or do something with media.
Yep.
Um, and I just looked up courses in my area, in my city, and the obvious. I went to a bunch of open days at unis around, and I was like tossing up between an audio course or a broadcast TV and film type course, and yeah, I eventually just decided on the TV and film.
Yep.
At first, I was like mainly looking to get into film, but I realized it's such a long shot. It's difficult in the city I live in, Melbourne. Um, it was an obvious pivot for me to just go to sports broadcast because we learned all the technical skills there, and we were using the same cameras, feeding into the same software. And yeah, I mean, Melbourne's a capital city for sport in Australia, so
Yeah.
there was 1,000 jobs for me waiting.
Yep.
When I finished my course. So
did you find it? So you did was it a course or did you go to like, did you get a degree?
Yeah, I did my Cert 4 and a
Yep.
diploma. So 2 years of my life. And then I walked out of that uni course into a job at the AFL. So
Yeah, right. So you pretty much went straight from the certificate into working for AFL. That's
yeah,
actually pretty
Cert
crazy.
4, diploma, AFL was, crazy fast track career.
That's actually pretty cool. And so kind of what happens in the broadcasting space? Like what's the kind of going on in the background that a lot of people don't necessarily see?
Uh, I guess it's a lot of moving parts. As you're working alongside a lot of higher ups, producers. Like when I got in at the entry level, I was just a pixel pusher, like editor,
Yep.
and I was cutting the live feed from the AFL match.
Yep.
And I was working with a producer. He'd be like, "Yep, grab this kick, grab this handball, grab this tackle, grab this goal," and I'd clip them up for him in the moment. So he'd be
Yeah.
sitting behind me or sitting in the next room, and he'd shoot me an email, be like, "Hey, we need this clip now." So it's just fast turnaround, live edits, and then that would all get posted to like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. So I was
Like
doing like
almost straight away after the game.
yeah, literally they wanted it as the game was ending. They were like ready to post within 5 minutes. That was like the match highlight. So I had two jobs there. I guess I was doing like the live one clips. So like if their Twitter feed wanted a potential goal of the year,
Yep.
then they'd want that right after it happened. But I'd also be building a highlight package from the entire game at the same time I was doing that,
Yeah.
the single clips. So yeah, both packages got put up basically after the game was done.
That's interesting. And so I guess that utilizes a lot of your editing skills. So a lot of people, I guess a lot of people watching this who are kind of editing and they enjoy the editing side of it, that's kind of a path they can go to. Because I think a lot of people talk about like wanting to become full-time content creators. And technically speaking, you are a full-time content creator.
Yeah.
Like, but people's mindset when they think of a full-time content creator, they think of someone that's like on YouTube and on TikTok and stuff like that, doing that kind of stuff. But more or less, like what you're doing is still the same thing. So it's still a viable career path.
I'm still creating content and getting paid for it. The thing is, it's like there's 1,000 industries in this world that require content delivered and like refined. They need the raw footage cut down into a nice package to post. Yep. It's not limited like at all to gaming or Twitch or YouTube.
Well, AFL is one.
AFL, like I'm not even joking when I say 90% of the content I've delivered has like 1 or 2 views, or like maybe in the range of like say 10 to 100 viewers, but it's all behind a paywall. So like while I was working at the AFL, I had a job at a webcast company. It was a conferencing company actually, and we used to film lawyers all day, every day. And
Oh, sounds great.
what lawyers need to do is like every 12 months they need to like get their points. I can't even recall what the points are, but basically once every 12 months they need to watch or stay on top of their industry in a certain topic.
Yep.
So the industry leaders would come into our offices, give a 2-hour presentation, and then that 2-hour presentation on their specified, I don't know, it might be, sorry, one sec.
Yep.
It might be on legal ethics, for example. And their 2-hour presentation is then put up, hosted on my conferencing company's website behind a paywall. And like no one sees that content I created. Like
It's got a very specific audience.
Yeah. So like there's so many avenues. And I think the important part of that is I was using the camera equipment, the vision switches. I was opening the editing software every day, multiple times a day to deliver this content that no one's ever going to see. But it's time on the tools that's important, you know? So
Yeah. You're still, and you're getting experience. And I guess that leads you to opportunities where you're able to kind of make cooler stuff that's kind of more broadly seen, which can help you.
Well, exactly. Yeah. So
Yeah.
because I'm down that, like, because I am using the software every day, when the moment comes where someone needs a fast turnaround on something, it's like, oh, I can do that. It's like, I can have that to you within 30 minutes, bro. And like,
Yeah, right.
anyone trying to become an editor or is out of their bedroom, just turned 16, 17, 18, whatever age, you know, and you're trying to break in, it's like, if you haven't had that experience on the tools yet, it can be quite difficult to get to deliver content to someone who's, you know, the posts on Twitter you see, like, need an editor, DM me or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like those people who make those tweets generally come to someone like me because I have the content delivered and ready to go for them the same day. You know, fast turnaround is like something I've been trained to do.
Yeah.
It's
With
almost like
your sports
hard.
stuff. I guess a lot of what you have been doing, your experience is like just quick turnaround edits, and that's helps people. And you've gotten comfortable and confident in your ability, so you know what works and know what's kind of content. Because I think what gets a lot of people stumped is they're not sure, they're not confident in what they're trying to produce, so they procrastinate and they'll put it off and they'll won't do it because they're like, oh, I don't know if it's going to work, and I don't know if it's people are gonna like it, or I don't know. Whereas you could probably just put together a video and just be like, oh yeah, you'd probably be like 80% sure that's fine.
Yeah.
Like
The thing I found, like, you as a like up and coming creator, I think the most important part is like breaking that wall down. Like at the end of the day, I don't think it even matters if people are going to like it or not. Like C's get degrees type energy. I just want to get the job over the line type beat. If it's good enough, it's good enough. If the client's happy, and it's good enough. You know, like I would not spend all day or weeks, or the thought of spending more than a day on a piece of work is like fucking insane to me. Like I could never. I'm like, get it done. I don't want to think about this by the time I have to go to sleep tonight.
Yeah.
Obviously, some projects that's impossible for. But I mean, if you're just talking about your Twitch stream highlights or YouTube highlights video or something like that, it's like just get it done, post it, and get on to the next piece of art. Like, I think the most important thing for up and coming creators is getting your, like, post 1,000 videos already. Like, stop wasting your time on like your
trying to get that one video.
Yeah,
perfect.
it's not important. Like the important videos are like so far down the line that like that video you spent 16 hours on is going to get 23 views, 3 likes, and it's like not worth it. You're better off just like grinding that period of your life out, getting as much content out the window as you can, because that's where all the learnings are.
Yeah.
That's where you're going to like cut your teeth on those videos.
Yep.
Like you'll learn all the pain points on those edits, and like
pretty quickly. Yeah.
If you think about, there was a study done on like a photography class.
I think I've
and
heard
half
story.
of the class was assigned to take 1 or 2 really good photos, and the other side of the class was assigned to submit their best 100 photos.
Yep.
and the side of the class that was submitting their 100 photos, like they just were submitting absolute bangers.
Yeah.
Because in the process of taking those 100 photos, you get really good.
Yep.
But like when you procrastinate and stick to one edit or one photo, it holds you back. Like it's quantity over quality here.
Yeah.
Especially when you're starting. Like you can get stuck into the 16-hour edits after you've posted 1,000 crappy vids. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Because you've learned all the pain points, and it wouldn't even be a 16-hour edit at that point.
Yeah,
it would be,
you'd know quite well.
You'd know exactly what to do.
Yep.
So
I think that's some really good advice there. So just kind of on the quality and quantity standpoint, I think there would still be a bit of a ratio that kind of needs to be kind of kept in consideration, because you don't want to sacrifice too much quality. Like what if you were to put like a percentage, quality versus quantity, how would you weight it?
good question, Jory.
Mm.
I'm like, if I'm honest, I'm not. Maybe I'm an outlier, but I'm like 95% quantity, 5% quality.
Yeah, right.
Like, I'm saving my quality stuff for like when I'm in my 40s and 50s and shit. I'm not. Until then, I'm just blasting through as many pieces of work I can.
Yeah.
Because that's where all the lessons learned are, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yes, obviously there are outliers, like a channel like yourself and what you're doing with the space and create a dashboard and whatnot. I think that percentile becomes more like 50-50, because you will have to pick and choose the good moments from these conversations with the creators you're talking to. And you also want to layer nice text with that, overlays and things, inserting imagery of what they're talking about. So there is outliers. Not every creator is not the same.
Yep.
But for my pathway in particular, when it comes to like Apex gameplays or like a replay package, I'm like, sweet, is the start of the clip there? Is the end of the clip like top and tailed correctly? Boom, next clip. And then just render that shit out, send it to the client. If they're not happy, they'll ask for changes. And that's when you kind of refine the product then.
It's good. I like it. I think it's one thing I'm trying to get my head around at the moment. I've kind of been, probably lately, I've been a bit more of a perfectionist, and like that has been stopping me from posting. So I want to get in the habit again of like posting a YouTube video every like 2 weeks. And so like, I think I just need to get better at posting a new YouTube video every 2 weeks and get that timing right. And then once I've kind of gotten comfortable with that, then work on refining the quality.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's a wall you'll have to break down yourself. You know what I mean? Finding that balance between quality and quantity. I feel like I broke that wall down when I was at uni. Like, I'm like, I don't even care. Is this video going to get me a pass for this class? Like, does it even matter? No. Sweet. It's good enough.
Yeah.
Obviously, some of my clients probably don't want to hear that, but like, and people like hearing me say that will be like, oh, I don't want to work with him. Yeah. Because he's just going to like rush my video or whatever. But I think the money is where, well, not the money, but the
kind of the point of it.
Yeah, the point of my job is to like send you back something so you can look at it.
Yeah.
If you don't like it, let me know the timestamp, what you want changed, and then I'll submit that back to you again.
Yep.
Within an hour, 30 minutes. Like, the turnaround is like really important for me. And it's like at the end of the day, the clients that I'm working with, I don't have to do much of the heavy thinking or heavy lifting. I'm just like a pixel pusher, you know?
Yep.
If it's their video, it's going on their channel. If they're not happy with it, you let me know and I'll make what you want. But I'm like, I'm not here to spend 16 hours on an edit that I have no guidance for. You know what I mean? And I guess that comes from the traditional sports background where I do have a producer sitting in my ear saying, this, perfect, submit. It's good to go. Whereas like a lot of these creators are such perfectionists, but they don't know how to even submit changes correctly, or like, they don't know what they want. They're like relying on an editor who isn't a producer to do that kind of thing.
Or or they're even doing it like if they're solo, they're producing the content and editing the content themselves. And so like without an end goal in mind, or like what it is they're actually trying to achieve, they just find themselves in this infinite infinite loop of like, edit, is it good enough? Edit, is it good enough? But like, it's never going to be good enough to what they have in their mind, because they don't actually know what the
and that's the
goal
thing.
is.
Like they'll like spend say 2 or 3 hours on the edit. They'll be like, it's getting there, and they'll like artificially put the goalposts a little bit further for themselves.
Yeah.
And
Oh
it's
yeah.
like,
No,
bro,
it could be just a little bit better, and then maybe that'll get me more likes. Yeah.
that's a trap.
Yeah.
That's a trap. Like, just like get it good enough and post it and get on to the next video.
So
what
would be a good strategy for someone to kind of like work through that? Like, what would you do to help someone just break through that trap?
It's a good question. I think good question, Drury. I think it would come down to setting yourself a schedule. So like you said, for example, you want a video every 2 weeks.
Yep.
In my opinion, that's too long. I would set, I don't know, your limitations on your timing and things like that. I know you mentioned you had children, things. You're a busy man, obviously, right?
Yeah.
So like, it might not be feasible for you, someone like yourself, to have a video up every 3 days.
Yeah.
But like, maybe setting pretty strict deadlines for yourself might be the way to break that down. Or up and coming creator, you have all the time in the world, you have no children, you're not paying rent, you work 4 hours a week or 10 hours a week. Like, you quite literally could be posting twice a day, 7 days a week.
Yep.
And like, it just circles back to like, get those 100 videos out, get your 1,000 videos out. The quicker you do that, the faster you're gonna have your lessons learned and like find your pain points in the edit suite and like,
and work out your process and your like how you actually like produce it. Because like for someone like a gaming creator, they've got to record the gameplay, then they've got to like, they've got their whole production line. You got to work out the best way, the most effective way to do that, and the only way you can figure that out is by
doing it. And a lot of people will just like hit record, play for 2 weeks straight, and then have so much footage that they have to shuffle through that it's like overwhelming.
Yeah.
Whereas like, they should record their gameplay that day, either do it the next day when you wake up, or do it that night and don't like go to bed late. Like, especially kind of aiming at younger creators here who have all the time in the world, but like, just get it done, render the video, delete the files off your computer so you have room for the next day. And like, don't pile up your videos so much that you are getting overwhelmed by how much there is to sift through.
Yeah.
And like, just trying to light a fire under yourself. Like, just set yourself a hard deadline or schedule and just stick to it. It's like anything, like going to gym, like eating right, same energy. You want to set like content goals for yourself that actually are difficult to achieve. Like, nothing in life that is worth doing is easy. So like, if you really want this, then there's no excuse for you not to be posting multiple times a week.
Yep.
And like, getting the content done, even if it's not the greatest piece of art. It like, just imagine yourself after like 1,000 edits, how good your content's going to be just at a baseline after 1,000 edits.
If you
versus
if like at the very least you'll improve by at least 1% every single edit.
That
so 1,000 edits is like 1,000% better,
bro.
Right?
You put it like that, I just got goosebumps, man. It's like, that's literally how you grind it out. And like, 1% is so achievable every day. Like, when it comes to learning your hotkeys and like what effects you like to use and the pipeline of content coming in, where you like to get your memes from, your music effects, like all of that. You know what I mean? Like, you could dedicate 20 minutes a day to finding new effects or music that you want to include that's copyright free, or spending 5 minutes a day downloading new sound effects and trying to implement them in the next edit. And they're like, you do that, say, for a year straight. Think of like the hard drive on your folder that has all these music files. You'd be like, or sound effects files. You're like, and if you've used every one of them at least once or twice, you have something to draw from. Like, you hit the clip in game, or you'll hit the clip on your Twitch stream, and you'll be like, oh, I have the perfect idea for this. And it'll
that's
be
one
like,
thing. That's one thing I got to do is like, I'll download I'll find a sound effect online. I'll download it, and it'll be in my downloads folder, and I won't store it. So like, I'll lose it. It's something I really need to do.
Well, honestly, that is a underrated skill right there. I think I was privileged doing that TV and film course, man. I'll tell you
Yep.
why. We had like a whole like 6 week course on file management, bro. Naming your files, how to store
Naming
your files
convention.
in a
Yep.
bin, yeah, exactly. Naming conventions, how to store your files correctly, and it all matters
Yeah.
because the quicker you can draw from these files in the edit, the less thinking you have to do, the easier it is to cut, the quicker it takes you to make. So instead of spending 16 hours, you know what I mean? It comes
Yeah.
down to like a 30-minute window of like
It's like all
boom,
these
boom, boom,
micro
boom,
little
boom, boom, boom.
things, they stack
That's
up, but
where
that's
it's all the 1%ers there, especially when it comes to editing anyway.
yeah. Yeah, right. That's cool. So let's kind of like fast forward. So you did spend a bit of time doing professional broadcasting with AFL and stuff like that.
Yep.
And then you started like going into esports. So how's that kind of like, how did that happen?
Well, I've always been, I always was a competitor. Like I played like Gears, I competed in Gears 3 when I was like 15.
Yep.
And I was always in scrims, always competing on a team. I was always playing competitive video games. So esports has kind of been my like one of my passions, side hobby that I've been doing the whole time I've been studying and like pursuing my career. Like
Yep.
all throughout uni, I was competing. All throughout my 20s, I was competing. I never had any luck. It wasn't that good. I mean, I won a tournament. I won PAX 2019 playing Gears 5. Won like 5K. That was pretty sick.
Nice.
So that was like my biggest W there. But for the most part, it was like esports was always on the side of my life. Like I'd come home from work, I'd be in a scrim like 30 minutes later. So, I mean, I've been gaming my whole life and I've been taking competitive games pretty seriously my whole life.
Yep.
So esports has always been there for me, like on the side. And I guess the way I went with my career kind of just met up nicely.
Yeah. Well, because you're doing broadcasting and like you obviously a lot of that in the background. And then obviously you enjoyed the esports side of it. So you kind of just put those two
It
together.
only made sense, yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I volunteered for ESL when I was like 15 or 16. I got to do a Call of Duty event at Crown Melbourne. I
That's
met
sick.
like Scumpy and Formal. I like was delivering there. I met like my mentor cameraman. So I met him there. He was running around the stage. I'm like, I got to talk to that guy. I spoke to that guy. And then he started bringing me on site with him to do post production recordings, and it was through that contact, my mentor, that I got a job at that webcasting company.
Yep. That's cool.
So it like all links up in some way. And the way I got that volunteer work at ESL was a tweet at Nick Vanzetti. So like it was like one thing will lead to the next if you are serious about this, like kind of if you're serious about your career and what you want to do in this world, like it all links together some way, some shape, somehow, you know.
Yeah. That's sick. So yeah, that's pretty cool. How are you finding? So do you do much content for yourself these days?
Uh, Good question. I'm running a few faceless YouTube channels.
Yep.
So like recently with all this AI stuff coming out, I've like I don't know. I feel like I spent a lot of time talking to chatbot in the past few years, and like I've kind of got a nice string, like a nice copy paste that I can send to it that spits me out a script, titles, tags, and I've run a few channels like that where I just copy paste, and it's like, oh, give me a sec. I'll just get you an example of the prompt I give it.
And so what's the kind of like the theme of these faceless channels?
Well, that's the secret sauce right there.
Oh,
If I give that away, then people will steal my thunder. You know what I mean?
fair enough.
But yeah, no, I'll give it to you. It's I run a channel on. It's called Sea Life Secrets, and I'm opening up another channel called Wildlife Secrets. I do like a motivational quotes, Reddit reads, and things like that. Where is this
Well,
post?
you see that a lot on like TikTok and like shorts and stuff like that. The Reddit read ones,
Yeah,
and
so
I mean, people they just like obviously someone's doing them.
they're just farming content, bro. Like my personal content strategy for me is I want to shit out low tier content as fast as possible. I don't want to think about it, but I want to make it within 5 minutes.
Yep.
Like, but that's my personal brand of content. Like, I don't obviously wouldn't want one of my clients to be like that because they wouldn't need me.
Yep.
But when it comes to my own personal content, I just want to make it as easy as possible. Don't have to think. And AI has been a real help for that recently. So example of one of my prompts is like, let's create a humpback whales facts based on the most searched topics that are different from all previous. Generate me a script for that fact that starts with one of the following hooks or variants of. Did you know that? Have you ever wondered why? This is your reminder to. This is why you shouldn't judge a book by its cover. You'll never believe what happened to. I discovered the secret of the. This may be controversial, but. And ends exactly with comment what you'd like to see next. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't include emojis in the script. Generate me a title for the fact that is clickbait with a total character limit of 100. Please generate me a description for the script and generate me tags for SEO purposes. And then it spits me out a script, title, tags, and then I copy paste that into an AI voiceover. I have my Premiere file ready to go. So I just drag the AI voice over on to the track that's already got the audio settings. It's already got the music there. All I have to do is put media on, which I've created like 30 different bins of whale footage, shark footage, turtle footage, jellyfish footage.
Yep,
And it's like drag, and I'm done. Like I have a piece of content done in 5 minutes that I'm posting with all the like titles, tags, SEO, all done. And like I post 3 times a day, 7 days a week. I mean, and at this point, I don't even do that. Like I have 2 editors on payroll that work for me.
That's crazy.
So I just get them to do it, and I just give them the secret sauce, and they like post on my behalf, kind of thing.
Wow.
So,
wow, and
like,
that's working well for you.
Well, yeah, that's my own style. Like that's my own personal content.
Yeah.
Obviously, I tried to be a gamer, a YouTuber, and it never worked out for me. All my videos got like 20 to 200 views. I had a few that went to 1K or whatever, but for whatever reason, gaming content just never worked for me. I guess I'm not funny enough, or
yeah, that's a tricky thing with gaming content. You either got to be entertaining, you got to be able to provide some kind of value through the content that you're making, so like tutorials and stuff like that, or you got to be really good.
Well, that's the thing. I was almost really good, and I'm almost funny. So, like, as a result, I get no clicks. So, like, it is what it is.
Yeah,
but
and it's highly competitive. Like everyone was doing the same thing.
Super saturated.
Everyone's like trying to be like this really, really good, really funny, bloody.
Everyone wants to be Shroud, right? Yeah. Everyone wants to be Shroud, but no one has a skill, and no one's well spoken like him. And if they are, then they have mild success or little to no success, and they give up.
Yeah.
Whereas for me, it's just like, well, if gaming's not going to work for me, then I'll just figure out an avenue that does, you know?
Yeah.
But like I said, I've been gaming competitively since I was like 12, bro. I was playing Gears of War really young, and always I was on like Cyber Gamer and playing in like scrim matches, elo matches, and just trying to make it as a pro gamer. But gaming YouTube just was so hard for me.
Yeah.
So I just pivoted, you know what I mean? It was just easier for me to make videos for people who were popping off.
Yep.
Like Berno, my primary client, I'm probably editing. I mean, I'm not personally editing, but I'm overseeing the workflow and pipeline for him every day of the week, 7 days a week. You know what I mean?
And for all of his content.
Yeah. So he's sending through like 5 or 6 videos a week, and we're getting the version 1 to him. He sends back the changes. We get the version 2 to him. He sends back the changes. We get the version 3 to him, and it goes up to version 10, and then he'll post that. You know what I mean? So, sorry, I'm yapping.
No, that's fine. It's very interesting, very, very interesting stuff. So what about like your work with Kanga Esports? So you said you started with them 7, 8 years ago?
Yeah, it's been a long time. I checked my LinkedIn the other day. I think it's 8 years.
Yeah, wow.
So I went to high school with Hades, the CEO. Shout out to Hades. He's one of my best friends in this world. I worked with him yesterday.
Yeah.
I used to live with the man. We were in high school together. Like we both finished like year 10, 11 together. And he's a really intelligent person. He's good at business. He himself ran a successful Minecraft YouTube channel when he was in high school.
Yep.
Like the man is an inspiration to me for sure. And
Yeah.
I wouldn't be where I am today without that man.
Yep.
And he obviously owns Kanga. He's a CEO.
Yep.
He also owns Events Engine, who I work for.
Yep.
So once again, it's who you know. And I
Yeah.
think building relationships is so important in this industry. Like, you need to be able to shake hands with anyone and everyone.
Yep.
And when you do shake the hand, it's important that you have like it's when you do shake their hands, it's important that they have the means to find out who you are. You know, like, have a body of work ready for when you do meet that important person in your life, so they know you're serious. Like, say you come up to me at PAX and you're like, I really want to be a content creator, but you have no videos uploaded or you haven't began the grind. It's like,
Yeah.
what opportunity can someone like Hades or myself give to you if you haven't even began the journey? Like, you can't steer a car that's not in motion. Like,
Yeah.
we can't help you unless you're already doing it. Like, I guess that's all avenues of success. You have to be doing it before you make it, because when you do get that opportunity, if your vehicle isn't in motion, you can't steer in the right direction.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's who you know. Yeah, like I said, shake hands with anyone and everyone that is like in the space, and it's important to get your name out there in that regard. But it's all pointless if you don't have a body of work to back it up, you know.
So what kind of work like do you do specifically for Kanga? So what was the Events Engine?
Events Engine, yeah. So nothing recently for Kanga really, but Events Engine is the business that Hades is really working on at the moment.
Yeah. So I saw you
And
did something pretty big recently. Like just a few days ago, you helped with a live broadcast for something. Was it with like? So what was like for the audience? What was that event?
Sweet. So we delivered the Jinxie Streamer Bowl. That happened yesterday, actually.
Yep.
So I mean, a week ago, Control Freak messaged Hades, or they had a deal come through, and Jinxie was hosting a Streamer Bowl. Had really big creators in it: XUC, Moist Critical, Sketch, Ksan, Agent Zero, Adept played from Face. So there's a lot of big names in that broadcast. So I produced the live show. The assets got all created for me. I made the VMix session, got the casters in, the hosts in, and we delivered the show yesterday. So, I mean, I think Jinxie's stream had like 30K viewers. I didn't check the rest. And I've actually been tasked to make a hype video for that. So tomorrow or later today, I'll be going through all their POVs on their stream and then clipping up and making a package highlight for them. So
yeah, well,
but besides the streamer bowl we did for Jinxie and Control Freak, I've been doing a bunch of work for Steel Series with Events Engine.
Oh yeah, yep.
I delivered the first Counter-Strike 2 tournament last year for them. In addition to that, I work with Longshot on the Apex South Apex Legends Pro League broadcast.
Yep.
So I've been working with them for 4 years, doing replays, edits. And yeah, so I've just got got a lot of moving parts in my life, delivering a lot of live shows, online delivery, and yeah, that's like taken up a lot of my time at the moment. But
yeah, that's sick. So what other roles? So this was this has been a lot. This is a really good conversation. There's a lot here. So for someone who's kind of wants to get into this kind of scene, and apart from being like a pro, a caster, a host, or an editor, like what other roles are available for someone to get into this industry if they wanted to jump into it?
So besides the roles that you just mentioned, I think the main ones I can think of immediately would be like tournament organizing, adminning, observing, and webcast delivery. So like the actual production of the show. So observing is like an in-game cameraman.
Yep.
Adminning would be like managing the Discord, making sure the players are in the lobby at the right time, starting matches on time.
Yep.
And tournament organizing would be, I guess, like similar to adminning, but just overseeing the admins and ensuring that all the moving parts are on time, and I guess liaising with the production op. So like getting the players in the lobby, starting the game on time, and then also making sure the rest of the bracket is starting on time, so that like when we get to semifinals or finals, that all the players are ready, and things like that. So there's a lot of moving parts when it comes to tournaments.
Yep.
And there's a bunch of roles there for people looking to get into it that aren't
Yeah.
specifically pro play or
Yeah, right.
host or casting and things like that.
One thing from what it sounds like, so it does sound like it is a very almost like seasonal kind of job, like so you might not always have something on the go by the sounds of it. Is that
Correct.
kind of yeah?
Well,
So
that's where. Sorry, continue.
So how do people like kind of manage that? Because it sounds like, you know, if there isn't a tournament happening, then what are you doing outside
You're
of
not
that
getting
tournament?
paid, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's where I rely on someone like Hayes to be like, he's more of a sales guy these days. Like, yes, he helps me out on the live stream when we have shows
Yep.
and live delivery, but just knowing someone in the events industry who can kind of get you these jobs. It might not be feasible for up and comers, but I mean, I've only gotten to this point recently in my life where there is a lot of shows going on.
Yep.
And during the Apex season, like it's only 6 months of the year that we're doing weekly shows. It's not even, it's like 3 months of the year. It feels like
Yep.
6 months. But I mean, just trying to be involved in as many esports as you can. Like, don't limit yourself in any way. Like,
yeah.
I mean, esports is esports. I love the competitive nature of it all. So I don't really care what the game is.
Yep.
I mean, I've done Smash Bros. Like FGC, the fighting game community is a big one. Like, there's always tournaments for that going on. Or
Yep.
there's figureheads in the industry like that will spectate these matches and like put in their own tournaments. Someone that comes to mind immediately is like B-Rad. He does a lot of spectating of Apex scrimmages. So like the practice matches during the week, not even Pro League itself. He'll be there spectating the games, commentating them.
Yep.
And like running his own show on the scrims. And that's really admirable, you know, like it's, if you want to do this, then there's
heaps you can
you just
do.
kind of got to be a little creative about it. You can host your own tournament, and just put up $50 or whatever. Just convince someone to come play with you, and then come play in your tournament, and the rest will follow. You know, like I guess not everyone has that pool, and when you're starting out, it can be quite difficult. But nothing's stopping you from hosting your own spectating. Like, say you know a tournament's going on. There's no stream for it. But like you could be getting yourself into those lobbies and spectating and casting and running a show in parallel to that tournament happening. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I'd say most of the competitive esports stuff isn't broadcast. Like it's only the upper echelon of players that make it on stream.
Yeah.
Beforehand,
where they get the
like
production, the full production.
All the play leading up to that. They're in like private lobbies versing each other and submitting their scores on like a little bracket page, and it's like you could be spectating those matches and streaming that. And even if no one shows up, even if it's just the players playing in that tournament showing up to your stream, it's like that's how you build a name for yourself in this industry. It's just like do whatever you can, get creative with it. There's 1,000 ways in.
Yeah, that's cool. So on esports, so what are your thoughts on the status of esports in Australia? How are things?
It's community driven primarily, like I was saying. It's like the upper echelon only gets broadcasted really. So like before it's at the pro level, it's all community.
Yep.
So you have like people putting on tournaments, a new game drops. You can almost guarantee a week later there's like a early bird tournament happening. I remember when Valorant came out, there was an open league or an open tournament. It was like literally a week into Valorant or 2 weeks into Val. And it was just like a open bracket tournament happened, and it was like there was literally 500 teams signed up or something in O's.
Yeah, wow.
Like those kind of scenarios are great to like get in at the ground level. So if I was doing it again, I would try to wait for a new game to drop and just follow the competitive scene. I did that with Apex.
Yep.
But if I'm honest, it's all community driven. I think the esports bubble has burst with a lot of the Aussie orgs dying out. The ones left standing now are the backbone of our scene. Esports in general isn't really profitable for investors. It's often fueled by passion. I mean, hopefully that changes in the future, but it's looking pretty grim at this point.
So why do you think? What do you think it's not profit? Like, what do you think what do you think it would take for the investors to kind of get a bit more involved in it? Like, what is it that's kind of holding it back there?
I mean, this isn't really my area of expertise, but I can give you an insight to some degree. There's like the viewers don't really, people who watch esports aren't really valuable to ad companies.
Advertisers, yeah. It's a
so
good point.
A lot of the people who watch esports are like not paying rent in their bedroom, playing video games all day. They don't have money to buy the new Gillette razor or whatever ad is trying to be sold.
Yeah. Yep.
Or like the big ad companies that are paying for like prime spots, like think maybe a car ad, Mercedes-Benz.
Yep.
It'd be like pointless for Mercedes-Benz to advertise on an esports broadcast because most of the people watching are like 16. They have $30 in their bank account and they're
never going to buy a Mercedes.
They're not going to buy, you know what I mean? Like they might in 10 years or 20 years or whatever, but it's just not profitable for investors really. Yeah. From what I can tell, like I said, I'm not an expert in this area.
No, it makes sense because at least with like live events like footy, most people who are footy fans, they're like predominantly men who are probably between the ages of 25 to 40, full-time jobs. They work in the industry. Like that's the people buying Toyotas and stuff like that, you know? So
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's probably why you see Red Bull sponsoring most of the esports.
Exactly. Red Bull's like what, $3?
Yeah.
And gamers drink Red Bull. So it makes sense for that kind of advertiser to be in the space.
Yeah, but there's only so much Red Bull can like spread their money. Like they're only going to go for the big events because that's where the biggest viewership is. It's very interesting. But I guess so there is probably an opportunity there for anyone because you see all these up and coming like energy drink supplement providers.
There's 1,000 of them,
and they're all looking for people like to sponsor. Like they're looking for people to share their content. I mean, esports is probably the option for them.
Yeah, because like it is a good space for energy drink companies. Esports go hand in hand.
Yeah, and I mean they like considering that they probably go to smaller content creators, offer them smaller pieces of like opportunities. It's probably a good avenue for them to go to in the esports things. At least the esports, even if it's like a privately run event or like a smaller event done by like a smaller streamer or something like that. Yeah, like that'll still pull more viewers because it's an organized event, which probably would justify. Like I'm just thinking of one of the ones that I've done work for before, Level Up, and you know I got paid for one video from them. Like
nice.
Them sponsoring a live event would make more sense than like just paying me to make one video, you know?
Yeah.
Because I feel like you would have better reach.
Yeah, well, I don't know. UGC is like a new thing at the moment. It's like companies want content of people using their product that they can sell. Like they'll just, I don't know. I can't explain it.
Yeah. The user-generated content is very important. It has its place, but the energy drinks are so saturated. People don't really want to. Like, people don't care as much anymore. So, I don't know. It's just an interesting thought. Like ways to kind of get more events funded in Australia to make esports a little bit more.
Well, yeah. Like I said, not my area of expertise. I usually leave that kind of thing to like Hades or people at Events Engine to get those deals.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't really care who sponsors us. I'm getting a flat rate for the day anyway. So.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. All right. So kind of getting towards the end of it, what are 5 tips you would give to someone kind of starting out?
I think first and foremost, you need to learn how to record your content and edit it. That's like at a baseline. Yeah. Like I said earlier, don't worry about the quality. I'd always encourage young creators to just blast through their first 100 edits and upload them so they can learn the basics and pain points. the 100 uploads after that will be the real content that generate you the recognition and views that you're chasing.
Yep.
So very much quantity over quality in the beginning as you're still learning.
Yep.
Make content for other people, teams you look up to.
Yep.
I have a cool story here. During my come up, Australian esports team, Mindfreak, they sent a Gears of War squad over to North America to play in the open bracket, and they had a insane run. And I was pretty passionate about the game at the time. I was versing these blokes daily, trying to break in myself.
Yep.
And as I wasn't invited to the event, you know what I mean? My team wasn't quite good enough.
Yep.
I just decided to make a hype video for them with all their plays from the tournament. I cut the videos up that night. The day the tournament happened, I sent it to the CEO of MF, and he liked it. He posted the video that night, tagging the players, tagging me, and it was like a real eye opener for like what I can do with my content. You know what I mean? It's like, no one's gonna do the hard work for you. So if you really respect a team or like a squad and you want to get into the space, it's just like get creative, think outside the box a little bit, try and like create your own future. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's great.
Another tip, I guess, would be just scheduling. Set some deadlines for yourself.
Yep.
If you're not working, if you're living at home, not paying rent, or so you're working minimal hours, it's like the perfect time in your life just to be blasting out those 100 uploads. So just set yourself a strict deadline once every day or once every 3 days or just some crazy output number and just get it done. Like record your gameplay with the boys, get off Discord and just spend the next hour and a half editing or 2 hours editing, post it, go to bed, do it again, 7 days a week. Like, who can deny you? If you do that for a year straight, you have 300 videos on your channel, all funny moments, all sick plays, whatever. Like, you'll have a community watching your content by the end of it. It's like, there's no doubt in my mind. Just get your reps in, get the reps in, set a hard deadline for yourself, and
get into it. No, I like that.
Next, maybe another tip, I guess, would be the community aspect of it. Try and get yourself in as many Discords in your region as possible. Build relationships. Go to the gaming convention. Shake hands with everyone you can think of.
Yep.
I had a kid come up to me, Janinja. He's up and coming. I had a kid come up to me, Janinja. He's up and coming in the Overwatch Oceanic Pro scene right now, and he's like I don't think he's a one trick, but he's really good at Doomfist.
Yep.
And he shook my hand. He introduced himself. And one thing, the conversation just went down the path of content creation. And I basically said to him, similar to what I'm saying to you now, just like post a video once a week, twice a week for the next year, and like watch your TikTok blow up.
Yep.
And like, I think I spoke to him at DreamHack this last year.
Yep.
And then I met him at PAX this year.
Yep.
And he came up to me and showed me his TikTok account. He had like 1 million views or something.
Oh, that's sick.
So like,
it's
just off the back of what I told him to do, he did it, and he was generating views for his channel. And like, I follow him on Twitter. Like, he's getting invited to like Oceanic community tournaments, and like, he's like actually out there making a name for himself because he's posting content. So like,
that's sick.
It just goes back to like, you can't steer a vehicle not in motion. So the fact that his vehicle is in motion by posting every day, like, the opportunities come.
Yeah, and then he can start steering it.
Yeah, exactly. He can take his content wherever he likes.
Yeah.
I think last would just be open to all types of content creation. Like, every industry in the world now needs content for their Instagram, Twitter, socials in general. So think about
it's the
like,
most expensive part of like business and like marketing is the content. That's where all the, like, no matter how much a marketing coordinator or marketing manager or something like plans, someone's still got to produce this content for the audience.
Exactly. So like, just off the top of my head, like, for me, it was sports. That industry for me, it was like the obvious choice for me to make money immediately from my content was just go to sports. Like I'm lucky to be born in Melbourne, and the TV course I did kind of facilitated that pathway to sports production. But I mean, I wouldn't say no to like real estate videos.
Yeah.
Maybe you're editing videos for a real estate company, and maybe you're editing another industry entirely, with hospitality. Um, they all need videos for their brand new restaurant opening up, or example with the webcasting conferencing company I work for, they needed content created surrounding their lawyers and like all that. That there's just 1,000 pathways. Like I could spend all day listing off different industries, but I'm sure you can imagine the depth there
Yeah.
of like there is quite literally not an industry on earth right now that doesn't need content.
That's right.
So like we are living in a great age for that as well. If you want to be a content creator, don't limit yourself. Like, yeah, it might suck having to edit like real estate videos, but the fact is you're on the tools, you have the raw files and you're dragging those files into your timeline and you're learning your hotkeys, and you do that that can be part of your 1,000 reps, like your 100 videos. Like, and then on the weekend or like after work, you've spent like 8 hours editing. It doesn't have to take you 16 hours to edit your gaming video now.
Yeah.
Because you've got the reps
better.
in it.
Yeah.
You've gotten better at the tools. So it only will take you 30 minutes to cut up the video that you're chasing, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, and that's kind of how I've done it in my career. It's like, I spent all this time at work editing videos for lawyers and the footy. They're like, when it was time to edit for my clients, their gaming videos, it was really easy. Like it didn't take me long. And if it did take me long, it was high quality. And it's like, it's really important to get your reps in and like, just be open to all types of content creation, because there is 1,000 industries out there that need it.
Nice. Cool. All right. Well, I've got a bonus question for you. What's one thing that you'd like to learn about yourself, or like learn more about to progress your own career?
Career related?
Well, it doesn't have to be career related. Could be anything. Could be content. Could be.
I actually went and saw Beauty and the Beast last night at Her Majesty's Theatre.
Yep, the theatre. Yeah.
At the and I don't know. I'm not a theatre kid by any stretch of the imagination. Like I did music in school. I did like visual comms in school, but like I didn't do any theatre. But the lighting technicians there, the production in general was just so outstanding. I had goosebumps for like 2.5 hours watching that. And it was like, damn, I could do this. Like I could be side stage being a technical director, like counting people in, like you're on stage in 3, 2, 1, or I could be pressing the lighting buttons. Like I think I learned something about myself recently is that like, damn, maybe I should try this as like as an alternate avenue of production. Like maybe I should apply or go at least look for some jobs in theater, because just really impressive work they're doing there. I hadn't been to a theater show before in my life.
Oh, yep.
And I had like, goosebumps for like 2.5 hours at the production. It was like incredible. I'm like, damn, maybe this is my future when esports is dead or I'm over it, you know?
Yeah. I mean, you've set yourself up to kind of go into that wherever you want in that kind of world anyway. So,
well, it's a bit of a sidestep. It's the same skill set, but just different media assets, you know?
No, I like it. Cool. Well, it's been fantastic having you on the podcast or on the video, and I think there's a wealth of knowledge that you've kind of shared there, a few secrets, and I think a lot of people have got something to learn, and that's the whole point of the Creator Dashboard, to get these insights, to get information to people that they wouldn't have normally found, because there's 1,000,001 videos out there on YouTube talking about how to be a content creator and just like making videos and stuff like that, but nothing is like deep knowledge as this. I think this is quite valuable. So thank you for your time today. It's been fantastic.
My pleasure, Jury. I'm glad I could help give you some insight there on the industry. And it runs deeper than what our conversation has been as well. You know what I mean? Yeah. So if anyone wants to reach out or has any nitty gritty questions, like my DMs are open. Just follow me on Twitter, send me a DM, and I'm always looking to help out up and coming creators or people who want to get in the industry. Like I'll always reply to their DMs, and I have people going through uni and asking me what I do for this or that, or asking me for advice, and yeah, I'll always give it out. So
yeah, no, I love that. Awesome. Well, glad to hear it. And everyone who's been watching so far, I hope you have enjoyed this video. If you have, give it a thumbs up. As we know, engagement helps. Comment, let us know what you think of this. If there's anything that you think is translates to your own experience or anything that you want to know, put it in the comment section. We'll try and get the questions answered. And subscribe to the Creator Dashboard for more content creation advice, tips, tricks, hacks. And yeah, I'll see you next time. Thanks, Ty.
thanks, bro. Take it easy, my man.